Welcome to the Who's Next Let's Go show. I'm your host, Mike motherfucking Johnson. I've been in 3 industries over the last 30 years, including real estate, automotive, and restaurant service. Each week, my guests and I will be sharing the stories that make us say, you can't make this shit up. So take a break from the mainstream bullshit and join me for another exciting episode of the Who's Next Let's Go show. Welcome to today's show, sponsored by who'snextletsgo.com and the Back Porch Brewing Company. Today's guest is a home inspector in the area, and I'm sure he's got some really great stories. Been doing it for a long time, and I've known him for quite a while, and I've also known his father, which he doesn't, I don't know if he remembers or not. I sold his father a few cars back when I was in the car business. So a great friend of mine, but I'd like to tell you a little story about a home inspection I had one time, and then we'll introduce Mr. Chris to the show for today's questions and answers and hilarity. So when I first started doing real estate, the first inspection I was on, I don't know if the home inspector thought it would be funny or not, to invite me up into the attic. And if you're watching this and not listening, you'll see that I am morbidly obese. So for me to get into an attic with a size of about 2 by 2 square, and he calls me up there to look at a junction box. So I get up there, and obviously I have no idea what the hell I'm doing or what I'm looking at, so I have no idea why he called me up there. And I get up there, and he's showing me this junction box, and I'm like, yeah, it looks, yeah, well, I understand, and I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but no fucking idea. So I get down out of there, and I hear him up there snickering, and I'm like, oh, that fucker got me. I'm sweating like a hooker in church. I must have lost 6 pounds as I'm getting up and down this, and I never went to another home inspection after that. So I realized I had been gotten, but I won't do it again. So without further ado, we're going to invite Chris today. He's our guest. He's going to share with us some funny stories and some banter. And I also have my buddy, Mr. Mario, here today. ¿Qué te pasa, güey? ¿Qué pendejo? So we're going to ask Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you're enjoying the Back Porch Brewing Company beer.
It is
delicious.
Absolutely.
So we have a happy hour atmosphere here. Obviously, I've had a beer or two. We did a show earlier. So will you share with us, I think, probably the funniest story first that you have?
So everyone has a different idea of what's funny. My funny is when other people are going through a traumatic experience.
Hold on, time out. We got a timeout already. So you enjoy other people's pain.
Yes, because I feel like when I'm going through something, everyone else enjoys it as well. So I return the favor as often as possible.
I like this guy. He's going to be good.
Yeah,
he's fine.
So this one, and I unfortunately, and if these people are out there, email me or get me on Facebook and let me know what happened. So I go out there to do a home inspection. I'm not going to, it's in our area, put it in Sarasota County area, doing an inspection, and I'm finding that a good portion of the drains are not fully clogged, but slow. This is an older house built in the 50s, 60s. So my initial thought is older cast iron, you know, you get burrs and things like that. Maybe they're flushing thick toilet paper, other stuff that shouldn't be flushed. So I said, you know, as just a home inspector, we don't do anything invasive. We don't scope pipes or anything like that. We just, when we find something that's wrong, we say, hey, you need to call a professional in that business. So they call a plumber out. Plumber just basically says, okay, slow drains, we're gonna blast the system out, you know. So they blasted the system out the following day. Because the day after that, there was going to be a septic inspection that was taking place. So
I smelled a turd coming.
I don't know. I'm anticipation.
That would be nice if that's all it was.
Good stuff's coming.
So they asked me to go back. The homeowner was not in, the buyer was not in the area. Only the seller was around. So the buyer asked me, he said, hey, I know you did your home inspection. If you want to charge me extra, you can, but would you mind going out there during the septic inspection? That way, if you find anything out there, you can relay it back to me. Sure, it was close, no problem, I shot over there. Septic inspector comes out there, and unfortunately, the seller was home, the seller's wife was home, and then the realtor was there as well. So the septic guy opens up the lid. There's usually 2 lids, 2 chambers, liquids in a solid tank. So
I have learned that through osmosis.
Yeah, opens up the liquid tank, looks normal, nothing to worry about. Looks at the solid tank, sees probably about 150 condoms in there.
Oh! So homeboy was a player.
That's the problem, is that him and his wife don't use condoms. But they did have, I believe, I heard through the grapevine, like a 16 or 17-year-old kid. So, and I just felt the humidity rise, and it was starting to get hot. I'm like, all right, I've got what I need. I'm getting the hell out of here.
I got to go write a report.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we,
Hold on.
yeah.
So the 16 or 17-year-old person was in the home,
Yep.
and the parents had no idea about all this
Yep.
act.
So if you're on, so put it this way, if you're on public sewer, you can get away with it. But if you're on a septic system, things don't magically disappear. So if you're a dumb teenager or a guy cheating on his wife or whatever, you know,
Teenager, that's an oxymoron.
But if anything, it's basically sitting in a vessel waiting to be found. So if you're flushing drugs or whatever down there, someone's gonna come across it. So anybody listening, if you're gonna do something that you don't want someone to find out about and you're on septic, find another means of getting rid of the evidence.
Get your condoms.
Burn them, I don't know.
Apparently they float.
Yes, they do.
They do float.
Yep. Had he or she take it with them as they leave.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I didn't laugh while I was there, but me and the septic guy on the way back to the trucks, we had a bit of a snicker about it.
That's
For sure.
kind of
We were
like,
holy hell.
wait, that's today's episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow. Good beer.
it is
It
good
is.
beer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's, wow. What do you say to that?
You really.
I would like to have been a
said it
fly
all.
on the wall for that beating at home. I mean, somebody's getting a beating. What the? 100, you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
So was it
yeah.
like
No, it wasn't
active?
like a,
They weren't like
no. It
one
was almost
time.
it was almost a business at that point. I don't think it was just for entertainment at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah.
There's so many ways we
Yeah.
can go there, and all of them are wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess the next question is, what's the most shocking thing? And if something's got to be different than that. That was pretty shocking.
Yeah, so shocking is we do commercial inspections also. So it's not uncommon for us to do like an association that has like 80, 90, or 100 units. So what we normally do is we do all of our exterior photos first, and then we'll need like a property manager or someone to let us into the unit to check if we're doing a wind mitigation. We go in the attic and take photographs. If it's a 4-point inspection, we have to go under sinks and things like that. So this was, I believe this one took me 2 days. It was just me on this one. I've got guys that work for me now, but this is years ago when it was by myself. So
I remember.
yeah,
Because when
I
you
used
first,
to do.
and then you only had one guy.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
was on the roof.
Yeah.
And he was like, this roof's bad. And he's
Yeah.
jumping on it. I'm like, stop fucking jumping on it.
Yeah. So this one, this is up in Sarasota. I'm gonna say it was 90. It was literally the 90th freaking unit. I'm doing my outside photographs, and I thought I smelled something. I wasn't sure. I'm like, whatever. There's dumpsters and shit like that. So, I just kind of ignored it. When I got to the back of the house and took a photograph of the back of the house, I noticed that on this side, there were duplexes. So on this side, the back window was literally covered in flies, but from the inside. So a window full of flies and a strange odor.
You're thinking Amityville Horror.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember that?
So the property manager was on site. So I called him and I said, hey, I don't know. There's a couple vehicles out front, but I said, someone's going to need to do a wellness check. And it ain't going to be me.
Zero chance.
Yeah.
I'm going in and looking at dead
So
people.
he's like, well, we don't have keys, blah, blah, blah. They ended up calling the cops. They ended up busting the door in. Wound up being somebody at OD'd there, but like 3 weeks ago. So you can almost, and I'm like, how in the hell someone's living in the attached unit? How do you not notice that your neighbor hasn't gone in or out for weeks and it smells like you think it would smell?
So there's a shared wall.
There's a shared wall. And these are older wood frame structures. So it's not like you have like block between you two. You have frame and insulation if you're lucky.
Passes right off.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is long ago, but I posted on Facebook, it's something, my business page. I was like, there's literally my home inspection truck and like 8 cop cars around it, forensic services around it. I'm like, just another day in the office.
Dead people.
Yeah. Wow. That was the only time I've come across anything, but luckily I didn't go inside. I kind of, I volunteered for Nokomis Fire Department for a little while. So usually once you get that odor in your nose, you don't really forget it.
Oh, yeah, you can never forget it.
Yeah. So.
And I've walked in a few houses and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
And you want to throw your clothes away. And
Yeah.
you're just like,
So they had the hazmat. Those guys.
Oh yeah, so I left. Oh yeah,
Nice.
luckily that was literally the last building I was doing. So I was like, all right, again, Have a good day. Don't even let me know how it turns out. I don't want to know.
You know, the weird thing about that is, so somebody did clean that house. You know, they have cleanup crews for that, as you're very aware. So they get in there, they clean this deal up. They sell this place, and in the state of Florida, you do not have to disclose that somebody died in the home. And somebody could directly ask you, and you don't have to disclose it because it's still a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house worth X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
And I sell a lot of dead people's houses. I said that in the last podcast. I sell a lot of dead
I don't think people
people's
care if they die of natural causes,
I mean,
but
we
I think
are
they
in
get a
hell-
little bit weird if it's like a murder or something like that. I really feel like you should have to let somebody know that, because so many people believe that, something kind of sticks with the place.
There's a lot of people that believe that. There was a house, I think my sister-in-law, right, has somebody suicided her. Right, honey? Yeah, suicide in her, with the house that my sister-in-law lives in now. Somebody committed suicide in that one. They didn't have to disclose it. They found out from the neighbors. Because the neighbors can't fucking wait to come.
And of course, the occasional lamp flickers you shit yourself. You're like, what's going on now?
you want to talk about a tight renter's market. A few doors down from where I currently live, I live here locally. Apparently there was, the homeowner had rented out a room to another individual. And apparently the homeowner at some point had passed away.
That's a squatter.
The renter didn't want to tell anybody because he didn't have anywhere to go.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You remember that?
I remember that.
I was asking Sarah
You
behind
go
me.
to Sam's and buy a chest freezer or something?
A month later. No, guys, a month later, the neighbors started calling about, boy, it smells next door.
That is crazy.
and dude just stayed in his bedroom, but the homeowner in the back bedroom had been gone for a month.
That's wild.
Do you want to talk about a tight real estate market?
Yeah.
That's a tight real estate market.
I don't care how I sleep at the Salvation Army first, man. I'm out on that program.
Yeah. There's plenty of wooded areas around the interstate I'd stay in before I stayed with a corpse.
Yeah. I got a car.
I'll take the Florida mosquitoes over that.
Free cable. Free cable.
Oh, well, you say for cable. That's
Say no more.
Wow.
Yeah.
I sell a lot of dead people's houses, but we are in Florida, God's waiting room. I mean, we are babies compared to the folks that live here.
Yeah.
I love it when they go, oh, you're such a baby. Oh, appreciate you. Fucking 55. Baby. So I'm sure you've seen some shady shit, like homeowners doing something shady. And
They're always trying to hide something. 100%.
I had a guy, before I know you got a bunch, and I told this story before. The guy moved all of the furniture in the room to the other side of the room. And there was a leak over there. But the inspector, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're not allowed to move furniture, or you're not allowed to take pictures and move pictures or anything like that. So he knew that, and he moved everything to where this leak was. And it was luxury vinyl laminate. So then the inspectors gets out. They don't know that it's a leak underneath there. And so we're doing the final walkthrough, and the furniture's now gone because he's moving it. So the buyer does the final walkthrough. I'm not there. I get the phone call.
Yeah.
And he hears this squish, squish, and the water's shooting up through the... So he just tried to be shady and try to hide it. Just do the right fucking thing. I don't understand why people can't do the right thing.
It's crazy.
So it cost him $10,000 to get the leak fixed and to replace the luxury vinyl in that room. And all he had to do was the right thing in the first place.
Yeah.
And he was already left. He'd moved, was halfway across the country in a car when I had to call him and go, you're fucking out. You're out. You owe me 10 grand or you can't close on your house, which he was going to make 100 grand on the house.
Yeah.
I'm like, just do the right thing.
That's crazy, especially when you're making that kind of profit. It's like, why try to stick somebody with your problems? You know, you're putting money in your pocket either way. Like, yeah, you're going to take a little bit less, but at least you're not going to be seen as a dick.
And
the
the thing that pissed me off the most about the guy was he didn't think they saw it. That was his words. I didn't think they would see it since it passed inspection. So you deliberately tried to be a shady fuck.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I'm sure you've seen some shady. Tell me one of the shady things you've seen.
Yeah, and it's stuff where, like, I've seen some real good ones. I've seen where, like, if I didn't look at it a third, fourth, or fifth time, it probably would have gotten by me. But, like, there's really funny ones. So, you probably heard of this. And anybody in the insurance field or in real estate, there's certain electrical panels you can't get insurance with, like a Federal Pacific panel. Yeah. The insurance companies don't want to deal with them because they're just known to fail for no reason, Right. So this guy, instead of replacing his panel, he went down to Home Depot and bought, or stole probably, because I didn't know you could buy just a cover. He might have got it off Marketplace or something off Facebook. He just put a different cover on it And then he trimmed out around it and just, so you look at it with the cover closed, it looks like a square D panel, but you open it up, it's got the little flapper, the FPE up here, and all the red and black breakers. I'm like, all right, like, I'd have to be drunk to not know. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, you know? And he was fighting me on it. I'm like, dude, I can't pass this. This is obviously a different breaker, breaker panel. And it's been like that since the 70s. I'm like, all right. So I'm not gonna argue with the seller, obviously, but ultimately I'm like, hey, have an electrician come in here, have him not be here, and you guys can discuss it clearly. So he ended up having to come out of pocket like $5,000 for a new panel.
See, but it went out of his way to be a dick.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get that.
I'm certain there are some inspectors that would have overlooked it. And they've been like, yep, square D, take a picture, have a good day. But I've been doing this for like 20, 22 years, something like that. So
weird, you're only 23.
Yeah, I know.
That's amazing. I know your dad taught you well because I know your dad. Dad's a retired fireman, as a matter of fact, so he knows a square D panel. Probably seen a few in a fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny stuff, man. It's just people go out of their way to do shady things. I just don't get it.
When everything's freshly painted, I'm always on alert. I get people that are buying what people call a flip house. And I personally, as a general contractor and a home inspector, I would never buy a flipped house because you don't know what it looked like 3 months before. I would rather buy a piece of shit where you can see all the issues because then no one tried to like prep it. But if you give someone a week or two, they're gonna find ways to hide shit. They're gonna drywall over it, they're gonna figure out a way to get it by you. And there are some things as home inspectors we simply can't track down. And you won't know about it until you go in there to do a remodel. If it's behind a wall or if they just did a temp job to fix a leak, you can do stuff like that. You can pump an AC system full of Freon and it'll work for a few days. And then a few days later it shits the bed. Well, you've already, by then you've already closed and you're stuck.
It's just shady. It's just do the right thing.
Karma
catches them
100%.
every single time.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yep.
I
you want
don't
OD
get it.
in a condo.
So, and just like we were talking earlier before we got on camera or audio or whatever the hell we're on. Like the father comes and he's got the tool belt and all this other stuff and he acts like he knows more than you do. Well, let me see your general contract. Let me see your GC license. Because obviously you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
I do this for a living. I'm not trying to be adversarial. I'm trying to give you a good home inspection.
Yeah. I'm here to help you out or your daughter or your sister or whoever.
You paid me $600-700 or whatever it is for the inspection because it changes different. But you paid me to do a job. Let me do my job. Let me give you the report, and then you can argue with me if you want to. But I don't know why you would. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah. And we don't put a timer on it. We don't say, hey, we're out of here in 3 hours. But if it's coming up on 2.5 hours and I've been arguing with this guy for an hour of it, I'm going to say, look, if you want me to stay and finish this job, we're going to have to renegotiate our terms, because you literally chewed up this entire time trying to tell me how much you know. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care how much. It's fine. I'm here to do a job. If we have time left over, let's chat. But let me do my thing first, and then we can shoot the breeze.
If a 1,200 square foot house takes you all day long, you're now making Vietnamese soccer ball wages on the whole thing. I'm not on that program.
But I've heard plenty of realtors say that. I've had several realtors over the years say I had 2 inspectors out here, and 1,400 square foot house, they're out there for 4 hours, 5 hours. I'm like, did they charge $3,000? Because that's the only way they're making any money today between the 2 of them. And you can't do one job a day as a home inspector and
make a living.
Not a chance.
But
so
in the same token, when I bought my house in Jacksonville, I told you about, we had home inspectors out. Now, shame on me. I didn't know who they were. You can laugh at Mike Johnson's story because there's plenty of those. Yeah. And I'm okay. I got big shoulders. I can handle it. So I get the home inspector out. I didn't know anybody up in Jacksonville, and so I listened to the realtor. Never do that. I fucking hate realtors. I'm a realtor and I hate realtors. They don't answer the phone.
There are different kinds of realtors, for sure. There are great ones and there are some really freaking lousy
There's 5% that do this for a living and do a really great job, and then 95% who could fuck off. So,
it's crazy.
But anyways, if you're a realtor, I apologize.
No, he doesn't.
Unless you're in the 95%.
That's take a hint, realtors.
Get your shit together. So I listened to the realtor, shame on me.
Yeah.
And he got this inspector out, and my daughter's going to move in. And so we had been using the master bath, and we'd been there, a couple weeks, honey, and just, didn't think anything of it. My daughter finally moves in. She's going to UNF at the time.
Yep.
And she moves in. And I'm down here because my business is here. So I left the house up Jacksonville with my wife and my daughter up there, and I came down to this house to do business again. Mm-hmm. I get the phone call. I have no hot water in my bathroom. And we just bought the house. So the inspector on the inspection report says hot water in the guest bathroom's working just fine.
Yeah.
Nope. $1,800 later, I had to run a line from the hot water heater all the way around the house, and it was just one of the things.
Whoa. There was no hot water supply?
No hot water. They had, this knucklehead had stuck an instant hot water heater, one of the indoor ones you stick on the outside. So it was instant hot water heater for that bathroom that had shorted out because it was outside.
Jeez.
So chalked that one up to $1,800 lesson learned. So I paid $600 for the inspection, $1,800 for the hot water.
Yeah.
And here we are.
So
$2,400 later.
And it depends on what you sign. Like some of the bigger inspection companies, they'll basically make you sign a piece of paper saying, if we screw up, we're not responsible, which is totally insane.
Yeah.
But most people just sign it. You know, we don't make people sign that. We've got air and emissions insurance where if I screw the pooch, I'm gonna pay for it, or if it's a big fuck up, we'll make a claim.
So I did call the guy.
Luckily, they haven't had to do it.
Yeah.
I did call the guy and I said,
They're
are you fucking
protected
crazy?
in Florida. They're protected in Florida.
Yeah.
Basically, at the end of the day, if you go in front of a judge, they're basically going to say, home inspector, return the fee for the inspection. Buyer, you're on your own. Which is bullshit.
So I called the guy and he was
The inspector.
Oh, and he was like a used car salesman, and I know that business
fine when I
pretty
was
well
there.
too. Yeah, and so he's giving me the song and dance, and I'm like, motherfucker, I don't feel like going through it with you. Here, I just paid the $1,800. The plumber, super nice guy, ran the whole thing, did a great job. And I had him have him out to the house multiple times, but that wasn't for the inspector point.
Yeah.
So just crazy. So outside of the condoms, because that's just saying that word is fucking funny. Then you hear the story and it's like, what?
Once you get your 40s and 50s, you don't really hear that term anymore.
You hope you hear that.
They're floaters.
He's got me all fucking.
Yeah.
So what was the most have you ever seen any like drug paraphernalia, any sex toys or anything like that? Like people don't put shit away. They know you're coming.
No, when I used to make the appointments myself, I wasn't as detailed about where I was going or what I was looking at. Now that my wife and her assistant run the office, they got a spiel. They're like,
they
"He's
do a
doing
great
this
job.
and this and this and this. He's going there."
Your wife
so
is
you can
on
prep.
it.
Go hide your drugs. Go hide your butt plugs. All that. Get it out of here because we don't want to come across because it's super fucking awkward.
Yeah,
you know?
it's awkward.
It is. So
They tell the homeowner this?
basically,
say it nicer.
this is where we're going to go. If you have anything you don't want in photographs to your insurance company, you may want to relocate it.
Correct.
Basically, yeah.
How
Because
politically correct is that?
where we're going is usually where people hide their shit. You know?
I've been on listing appointments and seen some crazy, like you could have put that away.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling somebody this story, but it said, "Welcome to Pound Town," above the head. I'm taking listing pictures. I don't need that in a listing picture.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
I got a box of sex toys to the head once. I was it was a condo.
Whoa. Say that again.
It was at work. I was in a condo, it was a second floor condo, and the access to the attic was in the master bedroom closet. So I went up like this and I tilted it like this, and a whole freaking box of strap-ons and shit nailed me in the side of the head.
God, I wish I had a video of that. Just getting it hit in the face with.
And of course, the homeowners, they're like, "We've never seen that before." And I'm like, okay, we're gonna leave it at that.
Must have been the previous owners.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Man, you've had the house for 37 years.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to talk your way out of that one.
Yeah, and it just makes it so awkward for you. I mean, you get hit in the face with a strap on.
Yeah.
Why does this keep happening to me?
I was looking for a camera somewhere, like, all right, who's messing with me seriously? But no, that's just a day in the life of.
Yeah, you're definitely looking for like what was that show called Candid Camera or something back in the day where they're filming. You're looking for that like who is it?
Yeah.
So
You always look around. Now with all your Nest cameras and your Ring cameras, one of the first things that we do when we go to do an inspection, we'll kind of do like a sweep to see like where did it, they're supposed to tell you, but they usually don't if there's audio and video. No. I'm not going to sit there and like, which we don't anyway, but like I'll kind of filter myself when I'm talking about the house if it's being recorded. You know, I just. You know, yeah. You don't want some of that stuff documented.
See what you should have done. This is what I would have done. Is if a strap-on falls down out of the thing, I'd have put it on my head like a miner's cap with the dick coming right out.
Like it's a headlamp.
Me, y'all. What's going on? Start going like this.
That's how you make it.
Come here, man.
Yeah. Is this how this goes?
I think he's done that.
Yeah.
My neck hurts.
He just thought of that.
Oh, that's funny stuff. But when you speak of those cameras, man, it's true. You go in these houses and I always try to make friends with the customers, and some of our customers you can cuss in front of and say different things.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah.
So we're going into the house, and like one guy, this is a piece of shit. I don't like this house. And I'm looking, there's a camera.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just like, you got to stop the people from saying something dumb.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll sit there and watch you, because I was doing a job over in Waterford just recently, actually. And their Wi-Fi and their internet and everything was plugged into a GFCI outlet in the garage. Well, I have to test those. So I tripped the outlet and reset it. No more than 30 seconds after I tripped that outlet, the seller, which had left for the inspection on our request, was calling the agent saying, our Wi-Fi's out, blah, blah, blah. We can't see what's going on there. And they're like, you're not supposed to be spying on us anyway, you shitheads. So I left it unplugged for the rest of the inspection. I plugged it back in on the way out.
I get the list. When I get the listing, you get the seller. Hey, they don't really like the house. Well, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Well, I heard them on the thing. Well, you should fucking tell me that you're recording them. I have to put that on the listing.
Yeah.
Oh, they're really going to buy the house.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get a good offer out of them.
Yeah, that's called voyeurism, dickhead.
Yeah, well, it's also, I mean, you're using it as leverage to tell them they have
Yeah.
to pay more for the house.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
You just can't
you can't do that.
So
and
it's
these cameras were not obvious. They had them, there was one up on a bookshelf with a bunch of plants over it. So they were being very, very secretive about it.
They're voyeurism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bathrooms were clear though, so we were fine.
Had you had the strap on like a miner's cap with the camera, we'd have had a video.
Then we could sell that damn thing.
These 10,000 views we're getting here have been millions.
I'd never get a job again, but whatever.
You can make
it's worth it.
royalties. Oh wow! So yeah, you've seen some different stuff, man,
and cool stuff too. Like we find things in people's attics that they don't even know is there. Up in Sarasota, we were doing an inspection for a lady that was just getting new homeowners insurance, so we had to go in the attic. And I go up there and I find bags and bags of guns in this lady's guns, yeah, in evidence bags.
Firearms.
Yes, in evidence bags.
Wow.
In evidence bags.
In evidence bags. So it turns out, I told the lady, I'm like, I don't know if you know this, but like you probably have 150 guns up in your attic above the garage, and they're just in plastic, and they're falling apart like it'd been there for a while. She's like, my husband, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he was a chief of police somewhere up in New York. I'm like, I don't think he's supposed to have these fucking things.
He stole the evidence bag?
I don't know if maybe he bought them at an auction. I don't know how that works.
You're not buying them in the evidence.
No, that's how they were transported, apparently. So there were well over 100 guns in the attic, and she's like, she kind of acted like at first like she didn't know, and then a little more in the conversation, she was like, I don't know what to do with them. I'm like, yeah, they do buybacks and shit. If you call the local, police station, they'll probably come and take them. I'm like, the guy passed away. They're not going to come after you for it. No. But like, they shouldn't be there, because if you pass away and someone buys the house, there's going to be 150 guns that no one knows about, and they're going to be on the street or something. So I'm like, you may want to call somebody and they'll address it for you and take care of it for you.
Wow.
Some of them probably had some value too.
Oh yeah.
You can't sell them. I mean,
sure.
if they're evidence, you can't sell them.
They're no longer in evidence.
No, they were not.
Yeah. But we come across people sleeping and people always squatting in houses. So, we'll go there, vacant property, it's on lockbox. They'll go out there 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and people that have no business being there. They're just on a sleeping bag on the floor, Inside.
How'd they get in there? They broke a window.
Sliding glass doors are super easy to open.
Squatters.
Anybody listening to this shouldn't listen to it, but like a sliding glass door, like 90% of them, you take a flathead screwdriver and just lift up on one, it opens right up. I tell all of our customers, like, put a secondary lock on your sliding glass door, because anyone can break into a sliding glass door.
These fucking old people, they take the wood and they cut the wood, the broom handle. You put it down in there and it fits perfect.
That keeps the honest people out.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've seen a lot of, like, when you go in these foreclosure houses, I'm sure you've done a few foreclosures.
Yep.
And the people are not happy that they got foreclosed on, so they usually treat it like terrible. So I get a little nervous when you go in there. Either a squatter's in there, or you're opening up the fridge and you're worried sick about what you're going to see in the fridge.
Oh, for sure.
I try not to do that, but when you're showing it, the customer always inevitably, the first fucking thing they do, pull open the fridge.
Yeah.
And it's something it's bugs.
If the power's been off for 2 weeks, you're going to get a whole different
head in there. I mean, you never know. And why would you do that? Just leave it fucking shut. You're going to throw it away anyway.
Yeah. Because utilities, they'll shut the water off, they'll shut the electricity off. If no one's paying the bill, they're like, well, we're not going to feed any more power into this place. So it's been sitting there with no power, no water.
Door open.
things start to ruminate.
Most of the time they don't leave the door open, and it's just disgusting. And thank God that the banks have discovered that it's probably a wise idea to put some sort of cellophane over top of the toilet with a sign that says "Do not use."
Keep the drain flies out.
Because before they got smart, they didn't do that, and people would use the restroom, and they had no way of getting at. And it's like.
Yeah. Just burn the place down at that point.
Yeah,
just sell the land.
You drop the swirly in the toilet and you can't flush it, and it's been there for.
Why do we always go back to poop?
Well, it's
Why do we always go back?
because the shit's funny. Poop's funny. Poop's funny. I've been to dinner with you and your wife 100 times, and the first thing we talk about, because your wife's a nurse, it's poop.
We talk about poop.
But we don't talk about it like old people talk about it.
No.
Old people love talking about their poop schedule and their money.
Yeah.
I didn't poop today, and that's expensive.
We hear about doctor's appointments all the time. You know, we go to make an appointment, or if we're running a little bit early or a little bit late, they're like, I got to check my book. I got doctor's appointments. I know you're 90, you have doctor's appointments. I get it.
My wife does hair, and inevitably someone will make a hair appointment, and they're old, and they've got a social calendar that is more important to them than life itself.
For sure.
Can you get me? Now, she needs a 3 or 4 hour service, and they want it done in an hour because they have to go play pickleball.
Yeah, they ain't gonna work.
Or they gotta go and they're doing trivia night.
Yeah.
And they don't want to miss trivia night. Well, you made the hair appointment.
Yep.
You know, you've had that hair for 80 fucking years. You know exactly how long it takes to color it.
Yep.
And to do whatever you do to it.
Yep.
And you know it can't be done in an hour. But you gotta go. And where are you gonna go? You're retired. Make a hair appointment and then play in the afternoon. I don't get it.
That's why I don't understand why they're all, that whole age group, they'll go to Publix at 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm like, you had a fucking day to do this.
1,000%.
And I'm on the way home from work, and I got to grab something for dinner for the kids. And here you are, and in front of the freaking milk cooler.
Standing there.
Yeah.
With mouth open, catching flies.
Yeah. Going through looking for the best date on the freaking milk.
And then
I'm like, get the hell out of
opening up the bags at the meat counter by spitting on their hands.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, stealing grapes and shit. Right? Yeah, popping it in.
God forbid they have the free shit out. Oh, they're standing there waiting, boy.
You can edit that out. It's fine.
So yeah, why can't you go on a Tuesday at noon?
I would, because no one's there.
Right,
You know,
perfect time to
If I
go.
get a day off or something, I'll go 7:30 in the morning. It's fantastic. No one's there.
You really want to be pissed off? Go to Costco on a Sunday afternoon and count the old people.
Yep.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go on Sunday afternoon? Why?
It might be the only day of the week they're dressed because they went to church.
Which brings me to another inspection question. Have you seen some naked people? Because I sure have they've answered the door in their underwear.
Yeah, but none that you would want to see naked.
No.
It's never
85-year-old
been
men.
above a 6.
No.
Never been above a 6. Never.
You've seen a 6.
Yeah, you're blessed.
Yeah.
You're blessed.
I figured
Yeah.
it'd be a 2.5.
There's
I saw an 85-year-old man in his underwear just the other day.
You're lucky you got underwear.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, at least you saw a 6. You're blessed.
Yeah, this is long time ago. I don't know if he was setting me up for failure or what, but an insurance agent, God, I've been in this a long time. This must be like 15, 16 years ago. This insurance agent's like, hey, my sister needs an inspection. It was kind of near my house, so would you mind stopping there on the way home? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Just give me the address and I'll swing by there. I go there, and I mean, you could call it a bathing suit, but there wasn't much but a couple of pieces of thread, And she's got her probably 4 or 5 friends, they're probably 20 at best, out by the back, just laying in the sun. And I'm like, this is interesting.
Oh, I don't get those.
I think I was single at the time too, and I'm like, what? It's insurance guy's sister. I'm like, I'm just gonna leave. Got my picture and got the hell out of there.
I don't get those. I get the 85-year-old asshole in his underwear.
Yeah,
And then he says to me, you want to come in? Fuck no.
No.
Sign right here. He said to me, and I quote, sorry, I'm not dressed. No shit, I can see.
Yeah, you should have not.
Clear, yeah.
You should have said that through the Ring camera thing, so I didn't have to see her.
Slide it under the
sagging
door.
ass.
I'll sign it. This is crazy.
Get a visual there between that and the condoms. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Most of that I've done a pretty good job at blocking out, though. Therapy will help you with that.
That's why I do this show.
Think about the positive stuff, and it kind of overrides all the negative stuff that'll keep you up at night.
That's why I do this show for therapy. You go to the therapist, they put you on a timer.
Yeah.
I pay for this.
Yeah,
It's
wait,
like,
you want to
great.
talk about it? I'm trying to forget about it.
tell me how you felt at the time. Fuck off.
Yeah, no thank you.
That's how I felt.
Do you have a bucket I can puke in?
Oh, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
And naked people. Well, at least you got to see some pretty good naked people.
Yeah. It's been a long time, and if any of it happened any sooner than that, I wouldn't admit it because I'm married with kids now. So that kind of shit ain't going on tape.
My wife's right there, and I tell her because we have that. I just tell her.
Yeah.
But I told her about the 85-year-old guy too, and then I
Yeah.
asked her. I begged her.
Yeah.
Please poke my eyes out with an ice pick.
Yeah.
And she said, because she's smarter than I am, she said it won't change the memory.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. My wife thinks I'm lying, but she's like, you must get hit on at work all the time. And I'm like, I must have like a non-approachable face, or I'm just ugly, or I don't know what it is, but like, I don't, or if I'm just there to, I don't really chit chat. Like I'm kind of, because if you kind of make friends with somebody, no matter who it is, then you feel bad, like, possibly scorching a deal. So we kind of keep it like, hey, I'm Chris, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to be here, here.
It ruins the objectivity of it. You're trying to stay objective because you have a job to do. And
Yeah.
if he becomes
That's
a
why
buddy
little-
and you're doing your buddy's house,
Yeah.
like you did my roof one time,
Yeah.
and you gave me it was just a quick inspection to give me 5 or 7 years left of life.
Yeah.
But you were a buddy, so it's like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
not that you did anything different than you
Sure.
would have done, but it was easier to come
That's
out.
why they don't let the surgeon operate on family, because they're either going to kill them on
Emotional?
purpose or...
They're emotionally. Wait a minute. Trust fund. Fuck you. Here's your heart. Gone. So it's crazy,
Yeah.
but good stories, man. I appreciate you coming out. It's
of
been a
course.
fun time.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed the Back Porch Brewing
sure.
Company beer.
Good beer.
Yeah, we've
I
been
know-
talking about going there for the longest time. I've got a buddy down the road that's there almost every other week with his family, so we're gonna get over there and.
yeah.
and
Tell
even
them
if you
Mike
can't-
sent you,
and
so
even
at
if
least
you
they
can't
know
stay
they
there,
got-
don't they? I mean, they sell like growlers and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that.
I
for
just
sure,
picked these up
right?
today.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Tell them Mike sent you, so they at least know one person from the podcast.
Hey, they got a view. No, I was on it.
I was on the show. He made me come. Mike who? Oh, well, I appreciate you coming
Absolutely.
out. Mario, as always,
sure.
appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
And,
Always a pleasure, Mike.
and again, special thanks to the Back Porch Brewing Company. Thanks for watching today's episode of the Who's Next Let's Go show. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Who's Next Let's Go show. If you want to hear more, you can catch new episodes on Wednesdays at noon, and all episodes will be on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at the Who's Next Let's Go show.